Hello and welcome to the Noble Network Virtual College Fair. We're so excited to have you participating this evening. This is a panel, the HBCU experience. We're really excited that you're here. You're going to gain some great information tonight that I know is going to help you in your college search journey and get you ready for the college fairs sessions that are following next. I have a few housekeeping announcements before we get started. Your camera and your microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. But don't worry, you can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. We really hope you'll use that Q&A to personalize the experience and ask some great questions. I know our panelists are really happy to answer them today. This is just one of many different sessions that are happening for Noble Network students. We hope you've already signed up for the college fair sessions that are coming up next. If you haven't, it's not too late to join us. You can do that on the same website where you scheduled yourself for this event, that's strivescan.com/noble. Also know that this presentation, as well as all of the presentations, are being recorded. They're going to be available within the coming days at strivescan.com/noble, so you can watch them again, learn about different schools, watch the other panel, and pass it on to family and friends. I'm now really excited to pass it over to our host for today, Brandon Draper. Brandon, take it away.
Okay, thank you so much, Jennifer. Hello, everyone. Hope you all are doing well this evening. Thank you all so much for being a part of this evening. I'm really excited about this. We have some really great panelists to talk to you specifically about the HBCU experience. So just to give you a quick introduction about myself, my name is Brandon Draper. I'm an alumni success coach for the Noble Charter Network. This is my third year working with Noble. My job is basically I support students once they graduate from a Noble campus as far as college coaching, job readiness support, financial aid support, all those encompassing. But we are here today because I'm a proud graduate of an HBCU. I have my hoodie on. I attended North Carolina Central University in Durham, North Carolina. I am a proud legacy. My mother and father are graduates of North Carolina Central University, and my brother is a graduate of Morehouse College. So I am more than thrilled to be a part of this panel, and I just want to go right in and dive right in. So the panelists that I have here today, if you could first just turn your camera on and just state your title, your title, currently where you're working, and what HBCU you attended. And I'll start first, class of 2007 NCCU, and what year you graduated from your respective HBCU.
Well, I think I'll go. My name is Jasmine Hall. I am a Golder maternity leave sub for environmental science. I'm also a Gary Comer alum. I attended Alabama A&M, and I graduated just this spring, 2021. And yeah, I think that's it. Oh yeah, that's a bit about me.
Okay, I can go. My camera's not turning on. I'm not sure why, but my name is Lorente Obi. I am the band director at Golder College Prep University. I attended Alabama State and the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, Arkansas, where I graduated in 2016. Majored in music education and sound production. I believe that's it.
Great. I believe you're the last one, Kendra.
Oh, I didn't know. I'm sorry. I didn't know how many people were joining. Hi, everyone. My name is Kendra Turner. I am a 2008 graduate of Howard University, and I am currently the manager of college and career support with Chicago Public Schools.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So I'm gonna just dive right into these questions, and it doesn't matter who answers first. So just the first question to the panel: why did you choose an HBCU? And more specifically, why did you choose the HBCU you attended? So I guess a two-sided question.
I guess I'll start it off. Well, the reason I chose an HBCU was one, that was the first graduation I went to. My uncle graduated from North Carolina A&T, and I was amazed off of the culture, just how the graduation was going, and I just love seeing people that look like me in success. And I chose my HBCU. I originally wanted to go to North Carolina A&T because of my uncle, and my aunts and everybody that in my family that has graduated, that's successful, have came from HBCU, Tuskegee and all that. So it's just in the bloodline for me. And then the reason I chose mine was because it wasn't too far away from Chicago, but it was enough for me to have my freedom. And it was small. I know that I don't dwell in big environments. So that was a big one. And I was amazed about how it looked at first, but yeah, and it was something that was different. The atmosphere would have been different. So that's the reason.
I'll go. So similar to what you said, Jasmine, HBCUs definitely run in my bloodline. Most of my mom's side of the family my mom is originally from Pine Bluff, Arkansas. So most of her, that side of the family attended University of Arkansas Pine Bluff or Arkansas A&M back when my mom attended. And I have cousins that went to Tuskegee as well, Morehouse, Tennessee State. So it was very much a part of how I grew up. I still have a Spelman shirt that my cousin bought me when I was like 4 that I used to wear because I originally used to want to go to Spelman. But then when I got to high school, my interests and my career interests kind of changed, maybe about my junior year, and I wanted to pursue journalism. And Spelman was more of a liberal arts school. And they didn't have like a journalism program. So I ended up at Howard because my mom was like, you kind of need to go where if you want to be in journalism, you need to go where their news generates from. And Howard is in DC. So it's, the center point for a lot of news, politics, etc. So that is how I chose Howard. And, of course, debatably, I'm sure everyone on the call it debatable because it was the best, because it's the best.
Okay, so I chose my HBCU straight out of high school. It was my senior year. I was like, I'm going to go to Howard because all I knew was Howard. I was like, that's the only HBCU in the world. But April of my senior year, right when I graduated in May, I found out about Alabama State and I auditioned. And, they gave me a nice amount of scholarship money. So that's where I initially went. But when I was there, I kind of felt like it was a great school, but it wasn't a fit for me, specifically for what I wanted to major in. So I ended up transferring to the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff in 2011. And it was kind of like the school kind of chose me because I never thought I was going to go there. It was actually at the bottom of my list at first, but when I went back and reevaluated everything that they offered, spoke to some of the counselors there, and then I spoke to the band director there, it kind of became like my second home. And the campus, when I visited it, the people that were there, it was a really like welcoming environment. And I felt like I could actually thrive here. And the good thing that I felt was the support. I felt that push from those people who were like my educators and things like that. When I felt like I was slacking, they made a personal effort to reach out to me and be like, hey, you're falling behind in my class. We need to do this. We need to do that. What can I do to help you? And that's when I was just like, okay, there's a support system here. I'm not just a number in the school. It was a family atmosphere. And of course, I went there because it's the best band in the land, but that's neither here nor there.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and answer this question as well. So as I mentioned before, my parents are, I'm considered a legacy. Both my parents attended the college that I went to, North Carolina Central. But I actually wanted to go to Howard, Kendra. I'm not even gonna lie. I went on a college tour my junior year. I was all about Howard. And I applied to only 3 schools: Howard, Morehouse, and North Carolina Central. And I was not going to Morehouse because I did not want to be in my little I didn't want to be in my big brother's shadow. So I'll be honest, it really came down to the financial aid package. At the end of the day, my dad and my mom had something to do with it for the most part, because they found me additional scholarships at North Carolina Central University. So that is why I attended. At the end of the day, I am still a fan of Howard, but I'm North Carolina Central is like my second home. I have so many lifelong relationships there that have taken me across the globe. So I'm more to say I'm indebted to my institution is an understatement. Okay, so the next question I would like to ask is I just want you all to talk about the networks that you had at your university. Like I hear, Ronte, you were in band. So could you just kind of talk about like the experience of what it is to be a part of a HBCU marching band?
Yeah, so I auditioned for 15 schools and got a scholarship to all of them. So that kind of gave me the options to choose where I wanted to go. When I got to UAPB, first thing we had was band camp. Band camp, you're outside doing physical training, PT at 5 o'clock in the morning. You back in your dorm at midnight. You back up again 5 a.m. the next day. We did that for 5 weeks straight. It gets your body right, your mind right, and it also gets you ahead of the game when it comes to the marching season. Typically during the school year, practices weren't that long. They were like a night class. It was 5:30 to maybe 8:30. That's Monday through Friday. Then Saturday, you got the football games, halftime shows. While I was there, I was saxophone section leader. I was also the head drum major in my last 2 years. So that was pretty dope, being able to perform in full stadiums, travel across the country, playing at different games, being on the 50-yard line during the football games, being seen. That was exciting. I got a lot of opportunities because of it. A lot of connections came from it. Even today in my outside of my teaching, I'm a professional musician, professional vocalist. I got a lot of connections because of those people that I worked with. Like one of the guys that I've talked to who actually got me a couple of gigs, he played trombone for like Music Soul Child, Lucky Day, and people like that. I ended up getting the opportunity to perform behind a lot of people, like a lot of gospel legends, like Kiara Sheard, Donnie McClurkin, Deidre Patton, Kiki Wyatt, like people like that. Because of the connections that I made at my HBCU, those people who are now working with these people called me for gigs, so now I have an easier access to it.
I'll say, I think the network is huge. I mean, I was definitely, when you said, Brandon, that you have relationships that have literally taken you across the globe, I can definitely say the same based on just friendships and connections that I made at Howard. Like I've been my, close friends. We've literally traveled internationally multiple times. And this one of my like closest, like a close and trusted friend. And honestly, a lot of my closest confidants and friends are friends from college. And that connection continues to forge even stronger, like as you grow from being like a college student to watching people become moms and wives or husbands or fathers and business people or entrepreneurs or educators, and the evolution of that and the evolution that you have, and being able to kind of iron sharpen iron and share your network. Your network kind of continues to grow, so that the networks a lot of times overlap. And I'm often really amazed at just how much my being an alumna of Howard has opened a lot of doors. And because of people that I know, because of names that I can drop and say like, oh yeah, this person referred me to this position or to this opportunity, and being, at the top of the list for that, because of the fact that not only that I went to Howard, because of someone who I may have graduated with or who I connected with at Howard, being able to kind of provide that stamp of approval for me to get my foot in the door. So I think it's absolutely important. And I think as far as network, also like just the professors, like I think we had a lot of like pretty heavy hitters. I'm sure at a lot of the HBCUs, there are a lot of pretty heavy hitter professors who are very well known in their fields. And a lot of times like nationally and globally known. I know I've taken classes with professors who have been featured on like CNN as like, subject matter experts on things. So I think that's, and the knowledge and what the knowledge that they share also helps to just further like build out not only your network, but also just your knowledge of self and knowledge of culture and the historical legacy that you're kind of walking in when you attend HBCU.
I feel like I'm at the like beginning stage of the networking, just because I recently graduated. Coming to terms like their support or networking per se. I was president of an organization on campus called Yes, You're Worth It. It's also she's an alumni of Alabama A&M, and I was able to grant that opportunity with her networking with like if I wanted to stay or something of that nature, I was able to have like a job. I would have some like setups and different opportunities on that path, but also like the fairs that they have on campus, the way they make you structure it where you have to go, like it's a opportunity for you to have to be there and be appropriate for that. And I would just say like, not just pertaining to my HBCU, but I feel like people that go to other HBCUs have a different, that actually help you network with being, having a background and going to a HBCU, help you network. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna help you. This is another way, because you connect on a whole different level. And so, like I said, like I don't have that. Everybody I just graduated with, we're still trying to find our way in this big world, and this like have our opportunities. So we're still trying to find it. So I don't know per se to talk about the networking aspect of it because I'm still trying to find it.
Okay, cool. Thank you all. Thank you. My next question, and I'll start first. What's your fondest memory of your HBCU? And for me, it's always and will always be homecoming. And that's really what, and I say that because it's what made me fall in love with HBCUs. I remember vividly being like 9 years old, and my dad took me down to North Carolina Central for the weekend. And I was irritated. Like I was so annoyed. Like, man, I was about like, I had like a baseball. I was supposed to be in like a baseball tournament or something. And my dad told me, was like, nah, we about to go to this, we about to go down North Carolina for the weekend and kick it. And I was just like, what? Like, you're tripping. Like, I'm supposed to be a part, of this baseball team. And we went, and to say I had a blast at 9 years old was an understatement. Just like the bands, the love, the food, all the like aunts and uncles that I've known from like even before then up until this day were all there, and just the love and spirit was just dope. I was hooked then. So from then on in, from 9 years old all the way up until now, I haven't missed a homecoming at my alma mater. So that is why I fell in love with my HBCU. What was, that's why I fell in love with it. But yeah, that's like one of my fondest memories.
Ooh, don't we have several? Just like I said, I'm like a freshie to this, so I have so many fond memories of my HBCU. But what I think it was SOAR. So the first time I stepped on campus, I remember, I always play this back, but I had Gary Comer makes you, when you're going through the process of, picking your college, you have to tell the colleges that you applied to how like, no, I didn't accept you. And I told Jackson State, like, I'm sorry, made my decision. And they was like, have you seen our campus? I'll wait. And that was it. And then I was like, no, have you seen their campus? And I was like, and then they was like, I'll wait. So basically trying to throw digs. But once I stepped foot on SOAR and I saw the campus, it was just immaculate of heels, like the classes was on heels, and it was just like it was like a cookout. And I was just like so excited, nervous, and I can't say too much about homecoming because I had never experienced that. So all I knew was this is my first time stepping foot on my campus and me seeing the campus for real, for other than the pictures, and just seeing how like glorious the hills were and the campus looked phenomenal from my eyes view. And then just like how much the food and people was like, oh, hi, how are you? And just talking. So I think the first SOAR was my first step to like, yeah, that was my fondest memories. But I have a lot. That was just minimum, bare minimum.
I know, too many, I know.
I guess I can go. So I have a lot of memories, but I guess the one that stood out to me the most would be the year we went to the Honda Battle of the Bands. That's basically where the top 8 HBCU bands in the country go and compete at a battle in Atlanta at the Georgia Dome. That weekend experience was just dope. Like, it did cut my winter break short because we had to come back 2 weeks early to prepare, because the Honda is in January, like leave the last week in January. But being around like my band family, traveling to Atlanta, seeing these different bands, going to the stadium, being on the same field as Big Sean and Dougie Fresh performed at the dinner banquet we went to, it was pretty dope. So I would say Honda was probably my favorite experience of my college. Close tie with homecoming, but Honda.
I would say for me, like homecoming, hands down for sure. Specifically though, my sophomore year, homecoming when like Jeezy was there, Dipset. I mean, y'all might be a little young for Dipset, but Cameron and like just a whole bunch of my favorite rappers were on the yard performing. So that was my favorite. But I think that when I talk about homecoming, that would probably be my most favorite memory. And I also had friends in town that came from like other HBCUs to visit and see like, is Howard homecoming really like all that they say it is? And they were like, yeah, it is. But I think too, another, like that's my fondest memory outside of a homecoming would be, I was a student ambassador. And so I got to like do tours for people who were considering attending Howard, like high school students and families who were considering attending Howard. And so I think that's a pretty fond memory for me because that's how I learned a lot about the history of the university and a lot of the amazing alum who walked the same halls and across the yard, just like I did. And I was like super amazed at like just a lot of the like construction and statures and structures on campus that had like this really rich and deep history rooted in a lot of like some lady like the civil rights movement or just a myriad of like social justice and not just like social justice, but just like first, like, the names of the buildings and the significance of the people and how they were first in their field for a lot of things. I think that's my one of my fondest memories because it helped me kind of embolden my pride in my university and knowing that this rich history that surrounds, not just Howard, but a lot of HBCUs and like kind of wanting to learn more about that as a whole to understand like the role that HBCUs played in the history of America.
Awesome. So I guess another question I have for you all is what makes your HBCU stand out? Like why is Howard unique? Why is Alabama A&M unique? Why is UAPB unique?
I'll take that the illustrious Alabama A&M University is highly unique. Well, the history that we got, so much history. We're the first Bulldogs to grace the HBCU land. Also, we have so much. We're on a plantation trade. So one thing about it is we have our own entire city. So we're Normal. So Alabama is in Normal. And because they didn't want us to be a part of Huntsville. So we have, they didn't want, in that time when we were created, they didn't want Blacks to be a part of them. They didn't want that. So they put us on top of the hill and gave us our own entire city. And now we're booming just off of Black greatness that we do. And what else? It's just a whole bunch of history. Like, it just goes back time and you just feeling like, man, it's kind of creepy, but then it's most definitely like, this is empowering, just going to class, knowing that what we stand for, how we grace Huntsville, we make it look good and stuff like that. So I would say, like, the fact that we have our own city is the that's a whole big accomplishment for William Hooper Council, which is our founder. So that's one.
Okay, guess I can go. So the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff is honestly, it's a really dope school. With the history of it, it was founded in like 1873. It was a branch normal college at first. And then in, I believe, it was like the mid 1900s, it became UAPB. But it's a lot of notable alumni from the university. For one that I can think of right now, Smokey Norfolk. He graduated from the university. I'm trying to think outside of the band world. I don't want to just keep specifically talking on that one realm because my university has so much greatness going for it. I believe it was the first HBCU in the state of Arkansas. Okay, so I guess let me just talk about what I know, the music, the band. So it's unique because we have one of the top music programs in the country, one of the top sound recording technology programs, a world-renowned choir, the Vesper Choir. They travel a lot. They did a tour in Italy recently. We have we produce a lot of musicians. It seems that's what our school is really good at doing. Like our alumni are doing things like playing for the Grammys. Beyonce's drummer is an alumni, part of the band program. Actually, she's in a sister sorority too, my fraternity. So that's just a couple of things that I think make my university stand out. We're really good at producing musicians and agriculture. I don't know, singing and fishing. That's what we're known for the most part. But we have a really good STEM program, one of the top agriculture programs in the country. And we have this, it's just a welcoming environment. The open enrollment window, they extended the neighboring state borders. So now students who are living in further states, even in Illinois, you get in-state tuition, things like that. They're doing a lot of things to make sure that students can get that full experience and afford the education that, honestly, that the school can offer, the best education that you can get.
So I think what makes this, I think it's probably a lot of things that make Howard unique. And I won't sit here and like say, I mean, we have a lot, notable alum. We have so many, and not just like notable, but like people who actually were change makers and really affected like the trajectory of some of the things that we know today, like in the world, from like acting to, you know, law to civil rights to, you know, social justice, acting, art, the arts, you name it. I could probably name somebody, politics, hint, hint, right? Name somebody from across all those fields. But I think one of the things that was always so profound to me in learning about the history of Howard is that a lot of Howard was founded, or a lot of HBCUs were founded with and teaching Blacks the trade, because of course, you know, HBCUs are founded on the premise that Blacks were not allowed to attend traditional universities, as we probably call them now. Originally was founded in teaching its students how to become teachers and as opposed to working with their hands. And so there's nothing wrong with that. But in that time, that was a pretty innovative move to teaching Blacks to think beyond just being laborers and serve working in service, but also to be like great thinkers and teachers, and also building out and grooming themselves to teach the future generations and uplift and improve them as well.
Great, thank you all. So I would say what sets North Carolina Central University out is we have one of the top nursing programs when it comes to HBCUs in not just the state of North Carolina, but when we're talking specifically about HBCUs, top-notch broadcasting program, and just like all the other panelists we're talking about, just the alumni and change makers that have done great things in this world, whether it be politics, business, science, just so many different things. But for North Carolina Central University, our main programs are education, nursing, and law. We actually do have a law school on the campus. So those are some things that just set us apart from the other HBCUs. So my next question to you all is, what do you think makes HBCUs different from predominantly white institutions?
I can start. Well, I have a lot of friends who have attended traditional, I guess, what do we call them? I can't think of the acronym that we call them, but traditional white universities. And a lot of times they talk about like the Black Student Union, like, well, you know, we had the Black Student Union. And I'm like, well, we were the Black Student Union. Like, we didn't have to have a union. We were it. And so I think that was, that's my biggest thing. And a lot of my friends did attend, you know, universities in more predominantly white areas. And so they really did have to like really stick together in their groups. And so I feel like their networks are a little bit smaller, and we're talking about like Black people in their network, because they were kind of, you knew who all the Black people were on campus. And not to say that, you know, that they didn't have, you know, they don't have great networks, but I think for Howard, one, like not having to worry about being just a number, and actually knowing, like having professors that really like poured into me and took time to like really nurture and help me understand, because there was certain classes where I was like not doing great, and I had professors that would literally take time in their office to sit with me and help me understand the material. Like accounting, I was doing terrible, and my accounting teacher would like help me, like tutor me after class, spend time, and I got a B. And that's like huge, because I really was struggling in accounting. And so things like that, just the nurturing, just like, you know, again, just the history and things that you learn, you know, being on the campus, that a lot of those institutions don't have, and a lot of them have history that's kind of grounded in keeping Blacks out. So I think that would be the biggest difference. And again, just like not being a number, and really like just feeling like you kind of like are amongst family, like you kind of talked about the cookout, Jasmine, like feeling like that every Friday on the yard when everybody's out on the yard. It may be, and it's so many different diverse populations within. Well, I think the biggest thing I learned is that how diverse Black culture is, in that we aren't just like African Americans. So like we were in school with like people from Africa, Black people that lived in the Caribbean, Black people from Europe, Black people from, literally different parts of the world that you wouldn't even think that Black people live there, and kind of really being able to like rub elbows with those people and kind of blow your mind about what Black culture means and what it encompasses. And it doesn't just encompass like a girl from Chicago, like the South Side of Chicago, like it's so much bigger than that. And it really opened my eyes to that, and just the uniqueness that exists within the Black community and within African culture and the African diaspora.
I feel like one thing you hear at every HBCU is the word matriculation. And one thing is, I feel like HBCUs, the goal, at least from where I've experienced, the goal is to matriculate and not rotate. Meaning you want to get through, make it to the end, see it through. We don't want to see you leave. And that's where that family-like atmosphere comes in. The accountability is more than just yourself. Yes, as an adult, you want to take those steps to be more mature and self-accountable, but you have a support system. It's college is not easy. When you go away, sometimes you're away from your family, you're away from your friends, and you just need someone to just kind of check in on you. And most times you can't speak that, or you can't put into words what you need. So just that support of feeling supported with the teachers, the way that they were willing to go above and beyond to make sure that you were passing in your classes. It wasn't just, I'm here, I get paid whether you pass or not. They wanted you to be something. They want you to be a good product of the university. Being on the yard, you're around people that look like you. Like, you feel like this is where I'm supposed to be. You don't feel like I have to make a group of people who look like me, because the group is literally the whole campus. And it's welcoming to people of other ethnicities as well. It's very, I'm gonna say, going to an HBCU in the South, I felt Southern hospitality the entire time. And it teaches you to be more compassionate, to be more understanding. It teaches you to be a better friend because of the treatment that you're receiving. It makes you want to reciprocate that and make sure that other people feel that as well. And thinking back to like the cookout analogy, every Wednesday, fish fry Wednesday, like it's the small things where you like, these are some cultural things that I would have never really paid attention to had I not been here. I would have taken them for granted. Small things that you notice, like, oh, you guys do this too. You start making personal connections with people, and it's just really dope seeing so many different people of color in the same space. They're all the same yet very different, and it's a growing process. And ultimately, it's really just a family. It's about bonds. It's about connections. When you go back to homecoming, that's literally like a family reunion. When you go back and give to your university, you feel good because you're sowing the seed into a place that sowed the seed into you. So that's my little spiel about it.
Okay. I can say what PWIs account for that. I don't account for that. I can say that the difference between a PWI and an HBCU is really like the support. I think that it goes a long way to have support, and it goes a long way to have a teacher that is honestly caring, and that you don't feel like I'm just going to class, but I'm going to class like when I feel like I'm going to class and my teacher's gonna know my name when I leave out of here. That's a difference. It's just like I can go talk to my teacher for like, I talk to a teacher for like an hour after class just to tell her like what I'm thinking, what I'm going through, and for her to just say encouraging words, just for her to know my name was just a big thing. And you're not like swallowed in everybody. You don't have like a 5,000 people in one class and you feel unseen. it's like you're always seen. It's always somebody that's looking at you and probably seeing you, and you probably not even see them, but they know you. You know what I'm saying? And I just thought, like, when I first got on campus, taken away to how they're very much so like they're your parents. Like, I thought I was leaving my parents, but they was on campus. So especially when my mom got sick and I didn't have, like, I was trying to figure out how I was going to pay the school, what was going to do. They work with you on that aspect. They're not like, oh, you got to go. They're like, no, we're going to figure out a plan for you to stay. What's the amount you paying? What's your grades looking like? How you going to get it? You got it. And they're always so they're happy, but you know, it comes with a personality to some per the taste. So I just feel like it's the support, it's the you're not gonna fail, no child left behind there atmosphere for me. So
It's dope. I love it. I love it. So we got 3 more minutes, and I'm just gonna look at this Q&A, and we're gonna try to get through them real quick. So 2 questions from I'm gonna shout out Jacora Dixon. I hope I said that name properly. She has 2 questions. What's your number 1 complaint about your school? And what was your major? And are you working in your field today? So I'll go first. My number 1 complaint was the cafeteria line at my school. It was always ridiculously long during lunchtime because I only really made it during lunchtime. And my major at my school was history and education. Education major, minor in history, excuse me. And yes, I'm still working in my field today.
My major complaint was we didn't have enough food places there. Like, we only had 1 place, and that was Subway. And that was it. I majored in sociology, psych minor, and I am going to grad school to go for law. So pray for me there. And technically, yes, I am working within my means of major. I'm teaching, and I'm in sight with kids, which I want to do. So that's on the fence.
Most disliked thing about my HBCU was the financial aid line. I was so tired of going there, turning in my paperwork because I didn't do it online. Handle your financial aid. Be on top of it.
Ow!
That's really it. Yes, I'm working in my field. I majored in music. I did music education and music sound recording technology. I started off working in a studio, and then I eventually started teaching in 2018. Been teaching since then.
So my major was public relations, and I'm in a roundabout way working in my field, definitely relating with the public, definitely strongly utilizing my communication skills and connecting, networking, and different things like that. I think my biggest complaint too would probably be dealing with the financial aid office and waiting and having to follow up for sure, but no major complaints. Brandon, I'm not trying to take a job, but I know it was a question in the Q&A about the misconception about HBCUs and you not getting a job in your field. Can we have an opportunity to talk about that before we disconnect? I know it's 6:15.
You can go ahead. Go ahead. They might cut us off.
They might cut us off. I just think that I think that's because that's interesting because that was a lot of the misconception on the certain family members on my other side of the family that I wouldn't. You know, the world isn't all Black, so why would you go to an HBCU? And I think that I really don't think I would be the person that I am without attending the school that I did, because I think that it just kind of ingrains in you. Like, I call it the Howard hustle. You may call it, the UAPB hustle, whatever, but it's nothing like it. Like, it really, you really have to hustle, and they really, even though they nurture you, even though they care, they don't make it easy. So you're not going to just pass you because you're having a hard time. Like, you're going to have to work for that B. Like, I had to work for the B in accounting. She didn't just give it to me. Like, I had to put in the work. I had to study. I had to, show and prove. But I think that a lot of opportunities are present on HBCUs. Like a lot of times when they're looking for the best Black talent, a lot of these companies that with diversity and inclusion, numbers, they're trying to hit those numbers and they're looking for the best of the best. They come to HBCUs because they know what they have to offer. They know that they are providing the cream of the crop in a lot of these fields in law, in agriculture, in technology and science. And so I think it's a huge misconception when people say that, because we always had job fairs. We always had opportunities at Howard. The School of Business, they had to dress in business casual every Friday because they had companies on campus that were doing, coming and presenting, and they had opportunities to do mock interviews. So I'm happy that you asked that question, because that's a huge misconception. And I think I'm glad that we have an opportunity to talk about it, because again, opportunities are going to be what you make of them, and you definitely have to do the work. But they are definitely there, and they're no different. They may be honestly more plentiful at HBCUs, I think, than maybe PWIs.
I appreciate you. I appreciate answering that question. Thank you all so much for participating. Really appreciate the dialogue and the time we spent together. And I'll turn it back over to Jennifer. Thank you all again.
I just want to echo what Brandon said. Thank you for hosting and facilitating this, and everyone for your answers and your insight. I hope that it's inspiring everyone who's watching to maybe explore a few more schools and experiences than they thought coming in tonight. And thank you again for spending this time with students of the Noble Network. All right, so we're at the end and we got to get off to that college fair. I hope everyone's going to be joining us. Don't forget, you still can sign up for our next 2 sessions of college fair events following this. It's at the same website where you signed up for this panel, strivescan.com/noble. When you close your window, there's also going to be a really quick 5-question survey. Students, I promise it is short and it is easy. I promise. Just take a quick second and fill it out. We'd appreciate any feedback that you can provide. In addition to finding the signups for tonight's college fair sessions at strivescan.com/noble, you will also be able to find this session's recording, the other panel, and all 4 of the college fair sessions recordings posted in the coming days. And we hope you will go back and check them out. Thanks again, everyone, for being here. Have a wonderful night and best wishes in your college search and decision journey. Good night, everyone.